The Apple iMac G3 is one of the most iconic computers ever, and for good reason. When it was originally announced in 1998, computers were typically either beige or black, and many consumers had trouble setting up a PC. The iMac, on the other hand, featured a friendly, colorful, and all-in-one design that was not only visually appealing, but was simple to use and had decent performance. Throughout the G3's lifetime, there were several different variations. In 1999, they made some changes that got rid of the tray loading disk drive and made the case completely translucent. The one that I'll be reviewing today is an Indigo Summer 2000 DV Plus model, which had higher specs, added a DVD drive, and included 2 FireWire 400 ports. Additionally, they bundled iMovie, which was a huge selling point that Apple made at the time, since most consumers weren't editing their own videos. The model I have here includes a 450 MHz PowerPC processor, 64 MB of RAM, and a 20 GB hard drive. Internet access was simplified with a 56K built-in modem, and even the option to add an airport card, which would allow your iMac to wirelessly get online. Today I'm going to be unboxing this, and since it has been practically untouched since 2003, I decided that I wanted to swap out the hard drive, max out the RAM, and add an airport card. So let's get started. Alright, so right when you open this, you're greeted with the accessories kit. Inside here, we have the Apple Pro keyboard, Pro mouse, also documentation and cables. In this, we got all sorts of starter information, warranty, product registration, and of course, Apple stickers. Also bundled is some CDs which we'll need later to reinstall OS 9 on the new hard drive. Under here is the iMac itself. Now, I already tested the computer and was pretty confused when I heard this. For some reason, the hard drive is really loud. I'm not sure if it's just because of age, but it's going to be replaced anyways. Now, if I wasn't replacing the hard drive, I could easily swap out the RAM and add an airport card through this little door on the bottom, which made it simple for most people to upgrade their machine. However, we're going to need to get farther inside to get to the hard drive. The first thing that I'm going to do is remove all the screws. Under the VGA panel, there are 4 screws and 2 by the front. Then there are a few more for this mesh cover. Now that I'm inside, I need to take out the old RAM, which consists of 2 32 MB sticks. Next, it's time to remove the hard drive, which is secured by 4 screws on the top. The new drive that I have is just a cheap 40 GB drive I got off eBay. The RAM I'm going to be using is a total 1 GB, which is the maximum I can upgrade this to. Lastly, it's time to install the airport card. After putting the computer back together, I'm going to need to reinstall OS 9, using the install disk, which I'm pretty glad that I have since they're getting a bit harder to find these days, and it can be pretty tricky to install an operating system without it. Since the computer doesn't recognize the new hard drive yet, we need to initialize it first. We could do this by booting from the install disk and then using the drive setup utility. Okay, now that we did that, it's time to install OS 9. We're going to want to select the Untitled drive to use. Alright, it's done installing, now for the final restart. Okay, now that we're in the startup assistant, I just need to register the computer, but since it doesn't really matter, I'm just putting generic answers. I'm not going to be using dial-up or anything, so I'll just skip this section too. Okay, I have a slightly faster iMac G3, so now what? Well, there are a ton of cool games that came out when OS 9 was around, and it's nice to have a computer that I can do that on. A great website to check out is the Macintosh repository, which has a huge database of software that you can install on old machines. In regards to what is pre-installed on this computer, I can go online with Internet Explorer. Yeah, that's right, Microsoft Internet Explorer came pre-installed on Macs all the way up to 2003, when Safari was then released with OS X Panther. There's also Mail, which is still on Macs today, but it's a bit different than it used to be. Sherlock 2 is a quick search program that was included in later versions of OS 9 that made it easy to look for files and stuff online. And of course, there's QuickTime, Apple's video player software that was introduced all the way back in the early 90s. The DV model did feature some additional software, but I'm not going to go into full detail on that. That's for another video. Anyways, there are so many things that you can do with the iMac G3. Although they're obsolete now, you can still use them for old games and applications that are no longer supported. I've always thought that this is one of the coolest computers ever, and I really enjoyed making this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.